Hi, this is Joakim Kans of Hammerfall, and you're watching Masaito's Rock TV.
Masaito's Rock TV。
もともと今回の来日はニューアルバムのプロモーショントリップだとも聞いてたんですけども、そういうわけじゃないんですか？
Well, this little trip is a little bit different, I would say. I thought it was good. I was in the neighborhood and thought it was, good to just come by Japan and, see what's going on and maybe, promote what's about to come. I think the actual promotion trip and the promotion period will happen in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So this is like a bonus promotion trip, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
でもアルバムが夏に出るそうで、もう全部レコーディング終わってるんですよね。
Yes, the final master was delivered this Monday, like yesterday, and first single will come out now in 3rd of May. So everything's done, artwork is done, the video is being, cut and everything. So yeah, just waiting. Now it needs to mature like a good wine.
Okay, okay. 多分あれ5月のいつシングルって言ってました
？May 3rd, yeah. The single, the first single, yes.
Which one?
That's We Make Sweden Rock.
Okay. いや、それはあれですよね。確かハンマーフォールの歴史を歌詞の中に取り込んだ曲じゃないかと思うんですけども、そのWe Make Sweden Rock ちょっと話してもらってもいいですか
？No, not really. No, this is actually a tribute to the Swedish hard rock and heavy movement starting in the late 60s with a band called November, singing in Swedish.
It's a blues band, right?
Yeah, kind of a blues going into a little, hard rock, and takes us on a journey from 1969 up until today. So it's the lyrics are constant references to other bands. So I made a little story by putting together references from, I think there are 28 different bands only in the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
And in the video, I think I managed to get photos from like 40 or 50 different Swedish bands, spanning from 1969 up until the more modern bands like Niflheim and a little more heavier bands, so to speak. So it's a true tribute that in the end tells a story that together we make Sweden rock. It's not only for like Hammerfall, it's not about us, it's about the whole movement. It's about all of us.
ということはそのノーベンバーがスウェーデンロックの一応起点というか原点というふうな解釈なんですか、スウェーデンの皆様。
Well, I think you have to, if you want to go back and dig like where it all began, it all, you start kind of earlier than when the first distorted guitar came. Not necessarily, I would say, but when I wrote this song, or when we wrote this song and when I wrote the lyrics, it felt like we need to go back earlier than bands like Heavy Load, bands like Universe or Europe, because something happened before. And then I stumbled upon November, and I thought that was kind of the birth of Swedish hard rock. Everything happened there. And from there, let's say it started to simmer with November, but the big explosion kind of came in the 80s, of course, with Yngwie Malmsteen, with Candlemass, with Europe. And then one of the most important things I would say that I also try to describe or to mention when I'm talking about this song is the Gothenburg sound, with Fredrik Nordström as the producer, with bands like At the Gates, In Flames, Dark Tranquility, because they set a new standard for melodic death metal.
Yeah.
And that became like a world-leading thing. So people start to look at Sweden, to little Gothenburg, and this studio Fredrik Nordström guy, like, what's going on here? So that was a really, really big thing. That was kind of the second big wave, I would say, after Europe. And then in modern times, of course, with bands like Ghost, Sabaton, and of course Hammerfall is in there too.
どうですか最近、スウェーデンでのメタルの人気は高いの知ってますけども、最近はフィンランド勢に押されてるっていう感じはないんでしょうか？
I'm not really up to date what's going on in Finland. They had a big boom in the early 2000s with a lot of these so-called power metal bands. But I think they, went down a little. But now, I think what we see definitely with Beast in Black, I think that is the future of Finnish heavy metal. I mean, Finland has always been a good producer of melodic heavy metal. And I think now with Beast in Black, they have something really big going on. I think they are the next big thing.
ああ、 ビースティンブラックどんなところがいけそうな感じだっていうふうに解釈してるんですか？
I think first of all, it's very good songs, but the singer, he is something extra, I would say. Even though sometimes it's very, very melodic. I mean, when he really, pushes it, like, what? I wish I had a little of his, height sometimes. I mean, they're combining a lot of different elements, I would say, in the music. They can be very poppy, melodic, but at the same time, they can really, make some powerful riffs underneath the melodies. So, I mean, diversity and good showmanship and good musicians. I think that is the recipe for those guys.
まあでも本当にスウェーデンロックって曲ね興味深いんですが、ヨアキムが一番最初に見たスウェーデンロックバンドって誰ですか？でいつ頃でしょう？
I'm getting very old now, so I have to think a little bit longer about this one. The first Swedish hard rock band I ever saw was a band called 6 Feet Under.
あ、6 Feet Under ね。
6 Feet Under.
あ、ちょっとディープパープルっぽいね。
Yes, that's right. With Björn Lodin on vocals. And that was in 1982 or something like that. I still have that album at home and I think it's fantastic, their debut album. But growing up in Sweden, you always looked outside the border for good bands. But there's one band I really regret not seeing when I was younger. That was Heavy Load.
Heavy Load.
Yes, in the 80s, because they always put out a big show. Heavy Load did it exactly like Motley Crue. They did a stadium show in a small club. I mean, they did the same thing, present a big show, but in a small club. And that's also something that we adapted with Hammerfall when we started. Doesn't matter if the club is only 200 people. We're gonna give the people a stadium show.
ヘビーロードは日本でもレコードは出てたんですけど、人気はどうだったんですか当時
？In my life, they were big, but they were. I think they had a little following. They played. They did some small tours in Sweden. I'm not sure how big they were really, but they very soon became like a cult band. And I think there were two sides. Either you loved Heavy Load, in my case, or you didn't like it at all because you thought, nah. A lot of people said it was. Not, maybe they were not good enough musicians or the songs or the productions. There was always like a lot of nagging, and I think it was sort of like competition going on, and maybe jealousy because at least they got a lot of how do you say that? A lot of focus in the mainstream when they played. A lot of press were there because they put on a big show. Meanwhile, maybe some other bands sounded better, but they couldn't really put out a show. So, I don't know. They were not that big. Not that big.
スウェーデンロックの初っ端どうですか？やっぱりそのハードロックヘビーメタルってレコード会社はあんまり信じないで、やっぱりインディーからスタートすることが多いじゃないですか。メジャーがなかなかバンド拾ってくれない傾向があるんですけど、確かスウェーデンのハードロックも最初はやっぱりインディーとかそういう感じで始まったんですよね。
I mean, when we started and many other bands also from the death metal genre in the 90s, there were very, very small labels in Sweden that signed a few of these bands, but the major labels, they were like, no, they didn't like it at all. Or I would say they didn't understand it and they couldn't see true talent, even if you wrote it on their nose. So most of the popular and the later internationally acclaimed bands, they were signed to labels outside Sweden. And then when the Swedish labels understood that they made mistakes, then they started to approach us and said, okay, so how many albums did you sign with this German label? Well, 4. Okay, maybe we can work something out. Well, who knows where we're going to be in 4, 5, 6 years. So I think they were a bit too afraid, and they let a lot of talent leave the country, I would say, because they were they were cowards, I would say. Unfortunately, because it would have been nice to be on a Swedish label, to have like a Swedish team around you, because of course speaking the same language is easier to make business, to make strategies and so on. But I think, I mean, most of the bands went to either Germany or England or, you know, Holland or the US.
でもその80年代初頭にスウェーデンのロック、スウェーデンのメタルバンドっていっぱい出てきますけど、スウェーデンからそんなにいっぱいバンド出てきた理由って何なんでしょうか？
Maybe that was, I mean, that was in the early days of heavy metal music, and I think what they were, you know, searching the whole territory of Sweden to find bands like the big names in the UK, in the US, and so on. But not so many Swedish bands took off internationally back then. I think sometimes it could have been maybe the accent, it could be an accent thing or production thing. I don't know. It's very rare that a Swedish band made it outside of Sweden. I think Europe was the big difference when they came, and they, you know, set a new standard. But also there, you had a production which didn't really sound Swedish. And you had a singer that sounded international. So maybe that's one of the reasons that it worked. And I think many bands in the early 80s, they looked too much over the Atlantic Ocean, and they were checking out what was going on in the US, in Hollywood. So they got a big image, they got big hair, it looked cool, but maybe they didn't have the, you know, the songs. I think, you know, a band like 6 Feet Under, they should have, you know, been really big. I mean, that was really good songs, you know, good musicians. But they didn't have the big hairs.
いや、なんでそのいろんなバンドがある中で6 Feet Underを最初に見ることになるんですか？
Because I grew up in a very small city of Mora in the middle parts of Sweden, and no other band came around that area. And they lived maybe 40 minutes from my place. So I think their first tour was this little district of Sweden. So that's why I saw them.
まあハンマーフォールは90年代にデビューしてるわけですよね。もうすでにそのハードロックメタルが世界的なムーブメントになって、むしろアメリカイギリスなんかではもうハードロックヘビーメタルが後退していくっていうかね、ブームが落ちてきてるわけですけど、そんな中でハンマーフォールをヨアキムはどういうふうにしようと思ってたんですか？
I mean, growing up in the 80s, seeing the grunge come and kind of, you know, almost kill the whole genre. That was hard for me to just to understand and to really accept, because that was also during the time I didn't really play in a band. I started to sing very, very late. I was 21 when I had my first real band, and well, to me it didn't really matter. I was just happy to be able to write and record a heavy metal album in the mid 90s. And to be able to put out the album in 1997 at a time when heavy metal only worked in Germany, Japan for some reason, you know, but that was it. And the rest of the world was like, you play heavy metal? Why? Why? Because I love it. You know, why follow trends when you can create your own? Yeah, but you should play music people want to hear. No, I play music I want to play. And that has been my motto since day one, and I think that's something the musicians of today should think about. What do you want to play yourself? A lot of my friends, they just went from playing melodic heavy metal to grunge to stoner rock overnight. They changed clothes, they cut their hairs. And like, why? You know, this is the next big thing. Well, I think it's too late if you want to jump on the train now. I think you missed the train. And do you really want to play this? Well, yeah, of course, that's the coolest thing. Okay, bye. I'm going to stay here with my spikes, my leather, and my denim, and just, you know, I'm going to play heavy metal, you know. So it was tough, but I was just in it because I wanted to play music. I love playing music, and it was fun playing music, and that was my drive. And it's always been my drive. The day it's not fun anymore, I'm going to do something else. And that's also why Hammerfall had to break a couple of years ago, because all of a sudden the joy was not there. Then we just need to stop. You pull the brakes, you sit down, okay, what happened? What went wrong? And then you make some changes, and then you continue.
まあハンマーフォール97年ですかね、ファースト出たのね。あの時の衝撃はちょっと僕も覚えてますけど、そういうその正統的なトラディショナルなメタルがもう少なくなっている中で、ハンマーフォールはそれをこうピュアな形で出しましたよね。あの衝撃はちょっと本当に忘れられないんですが、あれはとても意識的なものだったんでしょうか。
Not really, because it's. I mean, of course, to put out a record like that, but we never thought we would get a record deal in the first place. Like, who would sign a heavy metal album in 1996? Because the album was recorded already back in 1996. Well, we were just happy. Five young guys with a passion for heavy metal music, that having a label, a very small label, being able to pay for us to go to the studio and record an album. Everything else was just a bonus. So we never thought twice about what style of music we would play, or should we write something that people like? No. We're going to write the music that we love, and we're going to write the album that we would go out and buy if someone else recorded it. So we never thought about, there were no second thoughts or no cunning plans behind it. It was just, a song written totally out of passion and honor of the genre.
では逆にそういう気持ちで作ったアルバムを世界中のメタルファンからこれはすごいという反応を得た時の気持ちというか印象どうでしたか？
It's still hard to understand. I got a shock. I was working in a record store back then, and I had no plans to, leaving my job, to go on tour. Like, am I going on tour? Okay. Well, who's gonna water my plants at home? I have a life here. No, not really, but no, I'm very honored, and I'm so proud also about what we have achieved, and I'm so happy that people appreciated the album the way they did. And even though we took a lot of backstabbing along the way, I think the best appreciation we could ever get was in a documentary from a Canadian guy about heavy metal music, where they said, well, Hammerfall were the band that opened up the door for the return of melodic heavy metal music. And that felt so good to hear someone say that. And there were more than one person, so that made me really, really proud. And funny thing, we're still here. So we did something right.
いや、でやっぱりスタイル変わらないですよね。変えてない。これはやっぱりこの20年以上スタイル変えないっていうのはなかなか大変だと思うんですけども、その辺どうでしょうか。
Yeah, there are certain ways how to play these chords, No, you need to stay true to yourself. You need to stay true to the genre. Of course, if you feel you need to make a major change, you should do it. But with Hammerfall, I think Hammerfall is a trademark, and that trademark is heavy metal music, and that's it. The day we want to do something else, play a different genre, we need to, change name for the band. Because I believe that the fans, I think they trust us, that we would never step outside of the boundaries, starting to be more experimental or anything like that. Even though we add some new elements on every album, we stay within the boundaries, because I believe that you can do everything from a piano ballad to a speed metal composition and still be within the boundaries of heavy metal. So, and also you develop as a person, you develop as a musician, as a songwriter. If I compare the new album, the Dominion album, to the first album, you can't really tell it's the same band if you not have been, if you've been on the journey since day one and you heard the progress of the band. Of course, you're going to understand it's the same band. But when I listen to it, like, is this the same guy singing on the first album as on the new album? Yeah, it's really, I think as long as you progress and the people, I think the most important thing actually is that you're able to write good songs. Because the moment you can't really write any good songs anymore, it doesn't really matter how good you are in playing the guitar. If I'm a great singer, it doesn't matter if the song is bad. And that's also something Oscar and I have, developed throughout the years. And we always stood proud and, as a team, kind of as a strong team. I know that when he writes stuff and he gives it to me, I know it's going to be as good as, he possibly could make it. And when I am done with my part of it, he trusts me. And it's kind of this mutual trust thing going on there. Now I'm just straying off the topic, now I'm just talking.
ニューアルバムドミニオンって言ったかね今ね。それはどういう意味でつけたんでしょうか。
That is a very, very good question. I think Dominion to me, well, first of all, it's the way we are presenting Hector on the artwork.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, Hector is, no one has seen the artwork yet, so I can just loosely describe it, but Hector is taking more of a demonic shape. And each and every song of the album has a little preface or a foreword, a describing sentence that tells a little thing about the song. And the title track, Dominion, says, "Welcome to Pandemonium, the capital of hell." And on the cover artwork, you have Hector, more like a demonic shape, inside the capital of hell, which also will be in the video. So it's kind of not a darker side, because everything we were talking about with Hammerfall is more like storytelling. It's not now we're going to be more evil. Well, it's not like that, because when I write lyrics, I write stories. I tell stories, so to speak. And Dominion to me is, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of a mixture of all that. And the tour will, of course, be, World Dominion Tour. It's not like Hammerfall's going to go out there for World Dominion, but it's kind of a statement, at least.
Good.
Yeah.
まあ今日はねテレビのインタビューですからひょっとするとハンマーホール知らない人もね今テレビをご覧になってるかもしれないんですけど実はハンマーホールは日本の文化についても非常に詳しくてですね武士道なんて曲があったりして、日本のカルチャーとかもヨアキム好きなんだよね。
But this idea, Oscar picked up on this Bushido, yeah, thing, and kind of described it as the way of the warrior, of the samurai warrior. So then I started to read about this, like the samurai code and all that, and got really inspired of it while writing the lyrics. I wouldn't say I'm, into that, the culture side of Japan, but when I got the mission to write something about it, of course, you start, reading and you do your research. So that was really cool, and I love that lyrics because it's kind of a mixture between. I mean, Hector became a samurai, so it was from his point of view. I wrote the whole song, and I like the whole the code behind being a samurai warrior, and also the way they're living their lives and so on. I think it was perfect for a song.
他にもねニューアルバムには素晴らしい曲いっぱい入って実は僕も1回だけしかまだ聴いてないんですけどもニューアルバムについてちょっと日本のファンに少し説明するとどういうアルバムになったということでしょうか。
Well, it's kind of funny. It's kind of a new relationship. This is studio album number 11. This is my not new wife, but you say every time you fall in love, you say, I never felt like this before. And it's the same when it comes to music. With this album, I never had this good feeling before because as a singer and a songwriter, I really challenged myself on this album. I'm reaching higher notes than I ever did before, and I'm going lower to the abyss to really catch up the low notes. So it's a very diverse album with all the elements that I think that the Hammerfall fan crave, to get when they listen to Hammerfall, but also compositions that would take you a little, outside the boundaries and probably a little further away from what people expect. But all the elements you want to have in there are there. So it's a very solid heavy metal album, and I think that people will be really, really surprised when they hear how fresh it is, how mature it is, and the drive and the power in it. So it's really hard to describe something that people have not heard. And I just really want to press play. Listen to it now. But I have to behave and okay, you have to wait a little bit.
じゃあ最後に日本のファンにメッセージをお願いします。
Of course. I'm really proud and happy to be here on this little extra promotional tour. There's always a good excuse to come to Japan, of course. Thank you for all the support. I hope you're going to like the new album, Dominion. And I'm also very, very positive that you will see Hammerfall on tour in Japan very, very soon. Take care.